Hey comrades, I just played a weird thing. Wasn't a big fan of it. Ooh, the suspense! What could I possibly be talking about? Well, I'm talking about... Let's see, remember this stupid title. It's 24H Rule 7, I think is what it's called. There's probably more to that stupid title. Anyway, it's like a psychological horror, first-person exploration, mystery, blah, 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 blah game. Alright, so at first I was kind of intrigued by what was going on in this game. But after I got through and got the A ending, which is just kind of like the default ending, I was like, because there were times I was playing through this thing and I was like, oh, okay, I think I figured I need to go through this in a different order than what I did so I could kind of figure out what's going on. But none of it was quite so clear, and then there was all these other things, and you have like 7 days to figure this out, which is not a super big deal, but there's no like easy way to skip through stuff. And to get like the better endings, you got to be like very precise with the things that you do and like what day you do them. So you essentially need like a flow chart. And I was like, that's fine. But when I looked up the flow chart online and did not find one, I was like, fuck this game. Which is extremely lazy of me, granted. But I go back to, there was nothing about this game that really like struck enough of a nerve for me where I was like, I would like to see this play out, or I'd like to understand this, that I could just go watch like one of like the 4 people who've played through this game and recorded it outside of me play through the game meticulously, right? And I could do that, but again, So what does the game do well? Is that it is mysterious, and it does you kind of got to figure stuff out, and it doesn't hold your hand at all. All of these things I appreciate, and all these things I agree with from a design standpoint, and I do my little golf clap for them in the background. Because bravo, you did a good job. The game is also competently made. There were no bugs that I could find. It like got across the message I felt like it was trying to get across to me. And everything kind of worked as intended. So I had no issue with that whatsoever. What I do have issue with is that you really got to like either have a guide, which I couldn't find one, which is always my default because I just like to experience as much as I can. I don't have time to like play through these games 45 times to like figure out, oh, okay, on day 3, I got to talk to this guy and not like a day before, and then I got to do this so that I can maximize like my potential to follow the rules that are being set forth by this mysterious game. Yada, yada, yada. Right? So if you got a lot of free time on your hand and you want, I think this game might be like $5 on Steam, and you just like solving a mystery all by yourself, like let's just cut it here. Don't listen to anything else I got to say and go play this game. Because again, I got no real complaints with like the actual game. I just could not muster up enough energy and give a fuck to like go through this a second or third or, God forbid, like 5th time, 45th time to like make sure I did everything correctly. So I'm not gonna, right? I'm not gonna experiment with it. Someone else, I'm sure, would love. And if this was literally the only game I owned, I would be chewing this up. So that's all the preamble. So is this a recommend? If you got a lot of like disposable time in your hand and not like a lot of other options for like entertainment, which I literally platinumed Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Assassin's Creed. I don't think it even had trophies. Like, and like the original Assassin's Creed. Because when I was starting my master's program, I owned those 2 games, and that was it. And I was broke beyond imagination. So like I just played them until I could not play them anymore. And then the only allowance I gave myself to play other than that was World of Warcraft. because it was $15 a month. So bang for buck. I grinded out like 4 characters to max level at the time. I don't even know what I was playing. I think it was Cataclysm at that time. It might have been the winter one. Oh, it might have been the winter one. I don't even remember what it's called. Wrath of the Lich King. It might have been Wrath of the Lich King. Jesus. That was a long time ago. All right. Anyway, so the game's first person, and you move around it very smoothly. You have several locations, and that's it. You have kind of like town, you have your office, and you have your home. And then there's a couple of like unlockable locations for very specific things that are very limited in scope. So the game starts off every day, like morning day one, and you are like on the street. And there's nobody out there, but, and again, this goes to like, this game is not bad by any stretch of the imagination. I just was not, it did not touch my heart. Because you're just in like a major city in the middle of the day and you're going to work and there's nobody on the street. But the game literally mentions at some point early on in that first morning, man, things have really been quiet. They used to be so hustle and bustle around here, but now that the COVID-19 stuff's going on, like people just don't want to go outside, so I must never see people out, just, on occasion. And like I can't wait till this whole bullshit's over so that I can see people again, because it's really unnerving walking around empty streets in the middle of the day. And that was like, so golf clap. Appreciate it. Good writing. Good justification for like less use of assets. That being said, I mean, this took place in like Japan. Japan really wasn't locked down like a lot of places, from my understanding. Like I saw videos from people in Japan, and like, yeah, the streets would be kind of empty, but like you could just like wander into stores and stuff, and like there were people out. There just weren't that many. So the game tells you from the very beginning, like, hey, you want to make sure you talk to everybody. You want to like make sure you inspect everything, because there's like there's stuff to find. There's stuff you may not. And the game even gives you like a cheat, which I use the whole time, as you'll see, where it highlights interactable objects. It also says it could spoil the game for you, which I can see because it shows you all the interactable objects for like the entire map. And there's parts of the map that are like locked at certain times of day, or like certain parts of the story. So you're in an area and you can be like, I can clearly go over there at some point. Because I can see shit that I can interact with. Because there's like a white outline in the far, far distance and no way to actually get over there. So that's interesting. So, you interact with some stuff. You have a cell phone and you can like order stuff on your cell phone, and the cell phone kind of keeps track of the rules. So day one, the rule is you have to keep the light off in your apartment. Or yeah, you have to try to keep the light off in your apartment, which is a lot more complicated than you would initially imagine. Because like the circuit breakers and stuff keep breaking in the basement of your apartment, and instead of turning the lights off, it makes it so you can't turn the light off. So you got to go fix it so that you can turn the light off. Now, if I was to make this game, this is like the one actual complaint. I would make it so they want you to keep the light on, but when you enter your apartment, if the light's off and you can't turn it on, because then when you go fix the fuses, it's like, okay, now you can turn your light on, which is how electricity works. Whatever. Anyway, so every day, and this game takes place over 7 days, you get a new rule until rule 7, which is the last day, which is essentially kind of like the, what do you call it? It's the final, like the ending day, the ending rule. And so the rules are, off the top of my head, so day one, and then you have to do these rules like every day. So you have to keep the lights off in your apartment is rule 1. Rule 2 is you got to peek on your neighbor for at least 1 minute, which I got that to happen like twice, which seems like a really easy thing because you just walk out on your balcony in your apartment and you like glance out at her balcony, and then you could spy on her. But sometimes it would just like not work, and then sometimes. And then at some point she's like, I'm going to leave and come back in like a week. And so then you can't do it after that point. So I'm sure you have to like trick her into sticking around or something. I don't know. Anyway. And if you don't complete all the rules in a day, you get nightmares. And from what I could tell, there were 3 nightmares, which we'll get into. So rule 3 is you have to steal money. And there's 3 ways I found to be able to do that. I actually think there's a fourth way, but I wasn't able to unlock it. Those are, you can rob like the local cafe, you can rob the local ramen shop, you can rob your business, and I think you can like rob your business again. You might be able to rob your business like 3 ways, because that would get you to like day 7. Rule 4 is you have to like break something. And so I bought a slingshot, and they have these cameras on the street, and I broke all of them in one day, and they stay broken. So, which again, all right, fair enough. That makes sense. Especially because the construction crew like is all disappearing one person at a time because of other things that are going on. So you really got to just like break a camera, break another camera, break another camera. You can break like an air conditioning unit, and then you might be able to break something else at some point. And that's how you get all your days. Then, so that's rule 4. Or was that rule 3? No, I think that was rule 3. No, stealing money is rule 3. So yeah, that's rule 4. I'm pretty sure. And then rule 5 is you have to do something like outlandish every day. So like the only thing I could find that would accomplish that was like I peed in like a cup at like the cafe. I'm sure there's other things. And then rule 6 is you have to kill a colleague. So you can poison your boss. You can kill the male coworker, because there's 3 people you work with. The male coworker, and then I know you can, because there's like a tracker. If you go to the main menu and look at like track the events of unlocked, you can see that like you can kill him. I have no idea how you're supposed to do that. There's like a point where you can invite him out to dinner, and then you can go meet with him, and then you can be like, hey, let's go vape. So maybe you poison his vape, or maybe you go like stab him, or I don't think you can stab him. Maybe you can hit him with your slingshot, or I don't know. There's got to be a way to kill him that way, I would assume. And then there's a woman you work with where you can like crack open a window, tell her to go look out the window, and then push her out the window. But which I did, but I wasn't strong enough. And then it was never unlocked to be able to do that again afterwards, after I bought like the strength development pills or whatever. And there's multiple shops. Okay, and then day 7's like, did you follow the rules? If not, like, so I got ending A, which is 3 endings. And the ending A was like, hey, you did not follow the rules well enough. So the rule 7 is you have to just stand there and wait for someone else who's playing to just come and kill you. Or you can go spread, be a spreader. And I was like, for COVID? And it's like, spread this thing to everyone, the program to everyone. And so there was a lady that you worked with that quit, and she's essentially the one who gave you this program. And so it's like, oh, she must have not been compatible with the rules, and so she spread this to you, which caused you to be pulled into this like crazy game or whatever. Ending 3, my understanding is that, or ending B, because again, you can just look at this in the menu. Ending B is when you follow the rules, and then ending C is when you break the system. So you follow the rules and then break the program or whatever. I don't know what those endings are like, because I didn't get them, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to look it up. If you want to look it up, go nuts. Okay, so you have the main town. You can be in the town in the morning and in the evening. In the evening, the ramen shop and cafe are open. In the morning, there's the construction worker. You can go like listen to him chat to himself. There's several things you can unlock if you get passwords. I was never able to figure out what those passwords were or how to open them. And then on day 2 or 3, there's a guy in the cafe who's just like some jabroni who says some quirky stuff. That's probably important, or maybe you can activate something. You can buy a whole bunch of stuff. Like there's a flower shop. I never bought any flowers. There's a toy shop where there's like a ghost in the basement. You can try to exercise, but you gotta like unlock all this stuff, or kind of figure out like a sequence of words to say over the phone to like get this special poltergeist magic thing, and I don't know. And then when you order stuff, you order it and then it comes in like the next day. So, and again, the only way to get money is you steal it. So, and the best way to, you get the most money from stealing from your work, because you can give yourself your paycheck early, and you can give yourself a bonus, and then I think you can like steal an order or make a large order or something. I don't know. I never unlocked that either. So there's a lot of different options. Oh, and then you go to work. Okay, so then you can be there morning, night, and there's a transition. You can like walk home and you can walk to the thing. And then when you unlock like the toy store, that's like a complicated talking to like the female coworker, hearing about this thing, and then getting your boss to go to the bathroom so you can look at his computer, and then he has the address. Also, someone was like, oh, the password for like the old colleague who sent you the program in the first place. Her password is her birthday. What's her birthday? I don't know. It's on the boss's computer. So when I got access to the boss's computer, I was looking around for it, and it's not like I'm looking. It's like you just like click a button to go to like the next tab, and I tabbed through the whole thing, and I got like that's where I got like the money that I stole and everything else, but it did not unlock the password, and so I was never able to unlock like her journal, which she just like left on the table at her workspace. The female coworker is from Colorado, specifically Aspen. If you talk to her every day, she explains this, and that she's trying to get a job somewhere else. I wasn't able to kill her, unfortunately. The male coworker is just another kind of jabroni who just like chit chats, makes his own bento box at lunch, and the boss is kind of an asshole, I guess. And you can poison him if you can figure out how to find poison, which I was never able to. Maybe it's from the plant store. You like make your own poison. Your neighbor is this woman who is clearly like using human flesh to make art. That never comes out and says it directly, but it's like heavily implied. And then there's a mini game that involves like cannibalism, so I think that kind of pulls in the themes together. The mini games are the nightmares. So when you don't complete the rules, you can go through nightmares, and you can just skip them all together. The first nightmare is you have to escape, and you have like a demon baby and a demon wife, and I was never like really figure out what I was supposed to do there, because like you do like a couple things, and then like the baby or the wife like comes at you. And then there's like a tutorial, but you have to pay for the tutorial with coins, and you get coins every day as you like complete the rules. And you can also get them from unlocking another one of the games, which is just like Call of Duty Zombies, but like way less well done. And not less well done as in like, it's just kind of janky, right? Because it's like a first-person shooter. You have a gun, you can like go to the wall and upgrade your gun with more coins and do all this stuff. And then the more rounds you get through, you get more coins. So you can get a whole bunch of coins, and then you can unlock the tutorial, which costs like 18 coins, and you're getting like 2 coins from following the rules like a day. I never unlocked it, so I don't know. And then you can also get like enemy sense, which costs 12 coins. So that takes a lot of effort. And then one of the so that's nightmare like 1, nightmare 2, I think, or one of the like the zombie nightmare, it might be nightmare 2, and then nightmare 3, or the third nightmare, is the best in my opinion, because it's just like a story about this guy who goes to like, he's a farmer and there's no rain, so he takes like, he needs to go up the mountain because there's no food. Everyone in the village like cuts a piece of themselves for him to eat as like meat, so he can get up to the top of the mountain, so he can give all this gold and silver to like the gods. And so he goes up, so he gets up there, and the gods are like standing around. This is like a story you just read essentially in the TV, or the TV tells you this story. There's no voice acting that I ever heard, but so you do a lot of reading, which is totally fine. And it's very well translated, so there's no worries there. So you get to the top, the farmer gets to the top of the mountain, and then he's like, oh, I'm here, can you do the rain? And the mortals are like, whatever, here's rain. And he's like, thank you so much, here's gold and all this stuff. Like, we don't want fucking gold. And he's like, well, what do you want? And they're like, you got some more of that human flesh in your bag? And he's like, yeah, I got 1 piece left, and like, give it to me. And so then the immortal guy like eats it, and then as the farmer's like leaving, he gets like he looks at him, and it's like the most horrible thing he's ever seen. He's the most evil, vile creature like he could ever have possibly imagined, is what this immortal creature is. And then every year the people like take meat, not human meat, I guess, yes, human meat, and they plant it in there, and then they get like fall rain. That's like the thing. It's like the local legend or whatever. And then while you're like learning about this story, you're also learning about a missing person. And then, which, again, is like implying that like, and then you're like going through this process of like cutting up pork and burying it, and then making fertilizer. But the fertilizer is like you're taking these shears and you're walking up to like clearly dead bodies covered in a sheet and cutting them up to put in the ground so that you can grow the plants better. And then at the very end, there's like a monstrous creature standing there looking at you, and then it like, nightmare over. So there's that nightmare. That's the only one I was like able to complete. Because like the zombie one wants you to go like 15 rounds. I was like, hell no. Like, I'm not playing much. Fuck this game. Like, I don't even like Call of Duty Zombies. Like, what? I'm not doing that. Like, fuck this shit. 20 minutes, jeez. All right, so I think that's about it. Oh, so then you have your apartment, and then every time you go in your apartment, there's something fucking wrong with the basement, so you go to the basement. In the basement, you can watch tapes, and there's 3 tapes, and each tape you watch shows you that one of these construction workers getting like killed by a ghost. And I got the first 2 correct, and then the third one I guess I answered wrong, so I like got locked out of that portion of the game, and it's like, all right, well, whatever. So you go down the basement, and you have to have tools to like open the fuse box, to flip the switches, and then you get a clue about how to fix the fuse box from like the construction worker. So a lot of these systems are all like tied together, and it's like well implemented. Like I said, it's just not. I'm not that into it. And then the second tape shows you a key, so you can get into like the ritual site where you can like banish the ghosts. And then I was never able to banish the ghosts. And then the third one, it's like an exorcist going in there, and there's a guy like praying to the wall, and it's like, do you want to kill him or not kill him? And I was like, not kill him. And then I got killed by a ghost, and then that was that. And I couldn't like finish any of this stuff anyway. So I was like, whatever, fucking. So I wasn't able to turn my lights back off, so I failed that. And then, like I said, you go to the balcony, and there's your neighbor, and there's like time. It's like you have to watch her for a minute. So you're watching her, and she's talking about making flesh sculptures or whatever she's talking about. And then sometimes I just like fail it, even though I'm sitting there watching her for like a full minute. And then at one point, someone knocks on your door, and you go to the door, and there's like no one there. Against a lot of that, like the creepy or like scary stuff is very not creepy or scary. It's just kind of like or it's like a jump scare kind of. Like with the Exorcist stuff, like you're standing there, and then you turn around, and there's a ghost, but there's not like a ghost in your face necessarily. There's like a ghost down the hall, and it's like it never moves. You just like walk up to it, and then you die, and it's like, all right. So it's kind of like superfluous why this stuff's even in the game, to be honest. And then at some point you can go to a movie theater if you like unlock it, and you go to the movie theater, and it's just like a creepy movie, and it's the same. It's like a movie with a jump scare, and then there's a guy in front of you who just turns around and has no face. And then you wake up. So your character just is like not getting enough sleep, I guess, because he keeps having these like bizarre nightmares and dreams. And then he's like, always like, oh, that was crazy. Time to go home. And that's the game. So there's a lot of stuff. Like if you got a lot of free time, or you like want to know the mystery and you don't want to watch it on YouTube, like I'm sure you can get this game for under $5 on Steam. Like I'd be shocked if it cost more than that. And it's fine. It's completely put together. Everything kind of flowed together. Like nothing did not make sense. It just I don't have the time, compulsion, or energy to like. Nothing about this game drove me to care enough to want to play through it more than like the one time I played through it. So it'd be great if someone had like a flow chart that I could just like look at and be like, all right, I want to do this. So I got to do this in this order. But I couldn't find anything. I didn't look that hard because again, meh. So 24 hours, rule 7. Catch y'all later.